Most people find it easy to talk about themselves so freely, but I really don't have a clue where to start. There are a lot of things that have contributed to the Megan you see in front of you today. I never really knew where to say I was from when people would ask me because I'm from all over. My entire life, I've moved every 3 to 4 years due to both my parents being in the military. But as once stated by my good friend Mel, for me, my home will never be a location or represented by a flag or a national anthem or even marked by a coast. A home is a place I feel safe, smiling a real smile with the people I love most. I'd like to think I'm composed of a multitude of personalities and characteristics from several different people who have come and gone in my life. As we grow, I'd like to think we mature in several different aspects. Going into my freshman year of high school, I had a loving boyfriend at the time named Justin Haar, and he was my first true love. I think there are several versions of love, and you can love anyone with any shade or strength of it. Justin was such a huge part of the beginning of my high school career, and there's not a day that goes by that I would change meeting and falling in love with him. He's so close to me, and to this day we're still good friends. But after ending it with him, I had a really rough time adjusting to school. My life went into a downward spiral, and I started making some really poor decisions. One of the people who pulled me out of it was Taylor May Stinchcomb. Taylor was the most bubbly, outgoing, loving person I had ever met. I would attend youth groups with her at church, and to my surprise, I actually enjoyed them. I began to spend the majority of my time that following summer with Taylor, becoming closer and closer than ever. But midsummer, we found ourselves becoming too busy for each other, and it wedged a space between us and our friendship. Death of a loved one is never an easy thing to overcome, but with time, I've learned how to handle the pain. And when grieving, it's easier to blame all that has happened on someone else, and I blamed so many different people for Taylor being taken from me. Life throws shit at you a lot, and as once stated in one of my all-time favorite movies, we fall so we can learn to pick ourselves back up. And no matter how many support groups that were provided for anyone that had known Taylor, no one can really pick you up unless you choose to pick yourself up first. Just when I started to be able to handle the pain of losing my best friend and trying to figure out who I was as a sophomore in high school, another obstacle was thrown at me. Within the first week of September of 2011, I was told I was going to be an aunt. Now, most kids would be ecstatic to learn that they're going to be an aunt or uncle, but the problem was my brother Alex was still in high school. A lot of people never understood me and my brother's relationship as children. While most children, especially 2 years apart, were fighting and constantly begging for attention from their parents, me and Alex, we became each other's best friend, and they only really needed each other's attention. There isn't a moment of my childhood that I can say wasn't shared with my brother. We did everything together. We started soccer together, and although he was much better than I was, I still would play just so I could be with him. Alex would invite me everywhere with him as a child. I was a huge tomboy, so I was considered one of the guys. So naturally, the news of him becoming a father was unbearable to me. There was never a doubt in my mind that my brother, although only 17, would make a phenomenal father, but it was too soon for that. I could always go to my brother with really any problem, big or small, and even if he couldn't do anything to help, he was such an exceptional listener and never ceased to make me laugh.
Left jab, left jab, right jab, right jab, right uppercut, left uppercut, left jab, right jab, left jab, tuck right, left jab, right jab, right uppercut, left jab, left uppercut, right jab, right uppercut, tuck left.
My brother becoming a father at such a young age was a really difficult adjustment for everyone in my family, to say the least. Someone that I don't know where I'd be without today is my mom. We have our differences, and trust me, we fight almost daily about anything and everything, from big and small issues. But we always get over it, and we always end up talking by the end of the night. I can't imagine my life without her, and I am grateful every day for having such an incredible woman as my mother. I look up to my mother for so many different reasons, and one of them being for her dedication to the military and serving for our country. My mom was in the Navy for 20 years, and not a lot of people truly grasp the concept of what being a part of the military entitles. Every 3 to 4 years, you are assigned a new duty station, which means that every 3 to 4 years, we had to move. If you lived in the same house your entire life and have grown up with friends, you really don't know how lucky you are and how envious I am of that lifestyle. But my dad, on the other hand, well, he's a handful. My dad was a former Marine, and he was very athletically gifted, and while being athletically gifted, he passed those genes down to me. He is probably one of the most socially awkward, loving, caring, and honest men I know. It's hard to really put into words the relationship I share with my father. I love him with all my heart, but he is easily the most difficult, stubborn, and caring man in the world. It's hard for me to really connect with my father, and sometimes I wonder what it would be like if we were closer or if we had a better bond, but I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. There have been many people that have come and left their footprints in my life, and although many of them I have found we have more differences than similarities, I know that they have contributed to making me the person I am today. I tend to be the type of person to use the term friend very loosely, but rarely will you ever hear me calling someone my best friend. I'm so used to putting walls up, not to block others out, but to protect myself from becoming too close and having to leave. And I'm not one to keep people who have a negative impact on my life close to me either. A few people have grown very near and dear to me my senior year. I told myself that senior year I couldn't leave behind any regrets, so I went to every single football game in the fall and winter and became extremely close with my senior class, probably closer than I'd ever been before. Melanie Sanchez is one of those people. I can't even list the words to describe her because none of them would do her justice. Mel is one of those friends that, if you ever need someone to be honest or level-headed with you, she isn't shy of expressing it to you in the nicest way possible. It's hard to show people your true colors, but with Mel, I could really be anyone I wanted, and she'd still treat me as if I weren't a total nutjob. Mel is such an inspiration to me as a person for so many different reasons, and I wish she could see herself the way I do so she would realize how amazing of a person she is. But enough of me obsessing over Mel. Allison Ratfelders. Many people have never heard of her, but her and I have become so close this year to the point that I actually started spending more time with her at her house than I did with my own family at my own house. Allison is psychotic and emotional wreck, but she makes me laugh and knows me better than I know myself at times. We keep each other sane, and really, well, that's all that matters. Now, on to Matthew. Matthew Doljanin. Matt and I, well, we haven't been best friends since we were 3. We haven't been soulmates all throughout high school, and, well, we're really not even officially dating now, but there aren't enough words in the world to describe how much he means to me. We didn't really become a part of each other's lives until this year, and although we've only had a short amount of time together, there isn't any doubt in my mind that he will hold such a special place in my heart for the rest of my life. He drives me absolutely insane and knows exactly how to push my buttons, while constantly arguing with me about anything and everything, but if you know me, you know how much I love to argue and love to be challenged. He's not shy about doing exactly that, whether I like it or not. I'm not sure what the future has in store for him and we've only just begun our journey together, but I look forward to enjoying every moment with him for as long as I possibly can. Something that has really gotten me through all these rough times is softball. Softball is such a huge part of my life and has been ever since I started playing in 4th grade when I had just moved here from Portugal. Softball has taught me that you can never give up because you never really know what you're capable of doing with the next pitch. Softball introduced me to so many different types of people, and I didn't always get along with them, but it didn't matter because at the end of the day, you win as a team and you lose as a team. I haven't always been the best or the most talented, but I've worked my ass off to be the player I am today. And I look forward to playing a few years of junior college at Harper College, where I intend to establish myself as a collegiate athlete and see wherever it takes me.